Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and to my first video that I'm filming in the new house. I'm doing a Q&A for you guys today. I was doing one over on my Disney in Detail channel, all to do with Disney Vacation Club, and I figured let's do one over here as well, just about all of your other questions that are not Disney related. A few of you did actually ask Disney questions, which is completely fine. I just asked for basically generic questions that you guys might have. I haven't done a Q&A on this channel, I feel like, wow, for a really long time, so I thought I would do that today. Like I said, this is the first time that I'm filming a video in the new house, and I am trying to use natural light, so we're going to see how that goes. So I'm going to get on to the questions, and the first one is, adore your videos, thank you very much. Besides more Disney, where else in the world would you like to visit? And a few of you asked like a similar version of that question. Did I have any other travel planned for this year that's not Disney related and stuff like that? And yes, I do have some ideas of things that I want to do, but I don't have any firm plans yet. And before I get into more on that question, I do just want to mention the sponsor of today's video, which is Readly. Readly is a magazine subscription app, so basically you have one app with all of the magazines you could possibly imagine. Every magazine I've ever read throughout my life is on there, and all sorts of new ones that I didn't even know existed. This is what the app looks like, and you can see there in the top corner I have a travel magazine. At the moment, that is one thing I've been really interested in, are the travel magazines. And the section of the app that I'm currently on is the download section. That is one of my favorite things about this app, is you can download your magazine so that you can read them even when you don't have any Wi-Fi or any data signal. If you guys have watched my most recent vlog, you know that that has been a huge problem for me. So whenever I go out of the house and have some signal, I make sure that my magazines are downloaded, and I have been reading loads on here because that's something that I can do without any signal on my phone. So that's a huge plus to this app. You can also do family share. So one person can have a Readly account but have your own app so that you have all of your own magazines and your favorites and everything. You can bookmark pages for things that you're particularly interested in that you might want to go back to, such as recipes and things like that you might find in all the cooking magazines. The travel one at the top here, this is one that I've been reading recently. This particular issue is focused on the United States and lots of different places that you can visit. It's really interesting. I love the articles and the style that they're written in. The photography is beautiful in these travel magazines as well. I just absolutely love it. And whatever your interests or hobbies are, you will find magazines to suit you on Readly. They have so many different topics. You can browse different topics if you're just looking for inspiration. It's just a really great way to spend any downtime that you have. If you're traveling, if you've got any time where you're going to be on your phone but you want to do something different than just scrolling social media, Readly is amazing for that. And this is my favorites page, just to show you some of the titles that I like. I do have Country Life there. I love that one, being from Somerset, how could I not? I also love Closer. I do like Inside Soap. Sorry if that's terrible or embarrassing to admit, maybe it is, but I love it. I've got a photography magazine that I really like, cooking. I love all of the cooking and recipe magazines. So there really is something for everyone, and Readly have given me a great offer for you guys. You can get 2 months for free and you can cancel at any time. So if you haven't already, definitely click the link in the description to sign up to Readly, get those 2 months free, get your family members on there. Like I say, you can all share the same account, but everyone can have their own app. So back to the question about travel. Like I was saying, I've been reading a lot of magazines for inspiration because I do want to go to some different places. There are places in the States that I do want to go, as well as, obviously I'm always in Florida. I've been to New York, I've been to Vegas, but there are lots of other places that are perhaps not as touristy that I would love to visit, and I'm just kind of compiling a bit of a list of those at the moment. One place that I absolutely would love to go though is Italy. I've definitely mentioned it before on this channel, I'm sure I have, and I'm thinking maybe later in the year when it's my birthday, that would be a really great time to do that. I know Lisa's very keen to go as well. I've always wanted to go to Italy. That would be my #1 place, I would say, and definitely this year I want to try and do that. So Italy is on the cards for sure. Next question, and I did get a few questions that were very similar to this. Are you all moved and settled into the new house? Yes, we are, thank you. There are a few things that we need to do, but for the most part we are feeling good, feeling settled, happy here. I did also get the question, have Kate and I bought a property together? And the answer is no. This is Kate's house. The previous one was as well. She just wanted to move, and obviously I was living with her, so I've moved right along with her. In terms of my plans for that, Ian obviously bought me out of our house, so I'm just deciding what to do, weighing up my options. At some point I do want to buy, but at the moment, with the economy being the way it is and various other factors, it's just not quite the right time for me. And it really works well for both both of us living together. Kate does travel quite a bit for work, so I get the house to myself. I'm sometimes away, she then gets the house to herself. One of us is always here to feed the cat. Jet actually does go to the dog sitter or to Kate's mum when Kate isn't here. She just gets confused if she's in the house and Kate isn't. So whenever Jet is here, she expects Kate to be here. So if Kate does go away, then that sort of confuses her and she feels quite unsettled. Whereas if she goes to the dog sitter or to her mum, those are places that she kind of knows that Kate is not going to be there, if that makes any sense. So I don't look after Jet when Kate's away, but I do look after the cat, and that's something that can be tricky if you need to go away for work. We just get on really well, and like I said, at the moment I'm just still deciding what I'm going to be doing. So living together works really well for us, and yeah, it's all good, all been good so far. Hopefully in the next few weeks, I would think, yes, probably in the next few weeks, I will try and give you a show around of the house. There are just a few more bits of kind of putting away and tidying and stuff before I do that. Next question, is there anyone new in your life? You guys will just have to watch this space on that one. Next question, top 5 makeup products you can't live without. Oh, that's difficult, only 5. Okay, first of all would have to be my Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere foundation. I love that foundation so much. Next up would be Physicians Formula liquid eyeliner, the eye boost or eye booster, whatever it's called. Love that, that's really good. My NYX concealer I absolutely love, and I've forgotten exactly what it's called. I'll put it on the screen. I couldn't live without that for sure. Then my Sleek Face Form palette, which is the highlighter, bronzer and blush in one palette. And finally would be my Beauty Pie One Powder Wonder. Absolutely love all of those. So I just have a quick sip of coffee with all this talking. Okay, next up, what work did you do before being a YouTube icon? Thank you, Jack. I do not consider myself an icon for sure, but thank you. And do I miss it at all? So I started YouTube quite a lot later in life. So I did many, many years of full-time, kind of a regular job. My background is definitely in sales, and I've done kind of a bit of everything where that's concerned. So I've worked in retail, I've done direct selling, business to business. I used to work for a newspaper selling advertising space and get involved in the actual creation of the adverts as well. So I've worked in all kinds of different sales environments over the years. And then more recently, before I did YouTube full-time, I worked for the NHS. I'd made the decision I really wanted to come away from working in sales, and I worked in an admin role in the cardiology department, and I absolutely loved it. It was so interesting. I specifically worked mostly to do with pacemakers, so anything that people might want to know about pacemakers, I am surprisingly knowledgeable. I absolutely loved that and really, really enjoyed working for the NHS. It was a very, very busy job. Anyone who's worked in the NHS or still does will know pretty much most roles working for the NHS are busy, but I did really, really enjoy it. In terms of whether I miss my previous jobs versus what I do now, yes, I do in some ways, and no, I don't in other ways. So I definitely do miss having work colleagues and being in a work environment. I'm quite a social person. I did enjoy, you know, being around people, having a laugh at work and just having teammates, as it were, I guess. So I definitely do miss that. And just the social side, obviously at Christmas, you have like a Christmas get together if it's someone's birthday, just things like that. I do very much miss the social side, and the work itself in my last job was very interesting. So I definitely do miss that, and I do miss the patients as well, because I used to love our patients. Most of them were older, being in the department that I was in, and they were just amazing. But there are certainly things that I don't miss. I don't miss getting up at 6 AM every day. I will be totally honest, that was the thing I disliked the most. I'm not a morning person. I'm just not. It doesn't matter how hard I try to be. And like I say, I worked for years having to get up, maybe not always at 6, I did in my last job, but I've had to get up at varying early times in the morning, and I don't miss that at all. I'm very, very fortunate with what I do now that I don't have to take annual leave, so I'm able to do the trips that I want to do. So that's another huge plus to what I do, just the flexibility of it and being able to decide what I'm doing and when, and not having kind of a manager or a boss are all really good plus points to what I do. So yes, there are some things I miss and other things I don't. Next question, how did you find the microblading for your eyebrows? Was it worth the money? Yes, 100% it was worth the money. It was a bit of a weird experience. My friend had hers done and I went to the same person, and she absolutely raved about it and said it was amazing. And to be fair, the woman that I went to is so good. It's really difficult to get an appointment with her, and then COVID happened. So I had to wait a really long time to actually get it done. And I know this sounds sad, but because there wasn't a lot else going on during lockdown, I feel like I got kind of overly excited about this eyebrow appointment. I think I just built it up a little bit too much based on what it actually was I was getting done. But like I said, there wasn't a lot to get excited about. So when I first got it done, it wasn't 100% exactly like I thought it would look, if I'm honest, but that was when I first had it. It does take a few months for it to properly heal, so that is a bit of a strange thing. The healing process is definitely a process and takes some time, but now that I've had it done probably, what, over a year now, I absolutely love it. I don't really spend a lot of money on any type of beauty treatments. I've never had Botox or filler or any expensive anything done really. I do have my hair done, that's about it. So the eyebrow thing was quite expensive. It wasn't cheap to have it done, but I do really love them, so I'll just get a bit closer. So basically I have nothing on my eyebrows whatsoever. This is now just what they look like. It is a little bit funny when I don't have any makeup on, because then I feel like they almost look a bit too dark, because it looks like the only part of my face that's made up, if that makes sense. But yeah, I do love them. She did such a great job, and it's really hard to get close, but basically you end up with a look that is not solid. So if you've penciled in eyebrows, it does look very solid. It's very hard not to get that look, whereas when you get them microbladed, it looks more like the kind of feathered effect, like hairs, if that makes sense. I will link the place that I had them done below. She is amazing. Like I say, it can be difficult to get an appointment. Sometimes if you follow her on Instagram, she does have an offer to get it a bit cheaper, because it's not cheap, but it does last, I think, about 2 years, sometimes even more, so it was definitely a good investment. This next one, someone is asking, what is my favorite restaurant in the UK? That is a really difficult question to answer, actually. I'm really not a fancy eater. I'm quite a plain eater. I don't like anything too kind of like posh or fancy. I kind of like basic food for the most part. In terms of my favourite restaurant though, there is one place I love which is fairly local to me, and it's a pub called The Anchor. I'll try and link it because I think there's more than one called The Anchor, I think. Anyway, the food there is just so good. I have never ever ever had anything that wasn't amazing. They just, yeah, have amazing food there. And in terms of like chain restaurants, like more of a run-of-the-mill non-fancy type thing, I actually really like Prezzo. I love Italian food, and Prezzo is actually very good and very consistent. It's not overly exciting, but actually I've never really had bad food there either, so I do like that. So the next question, I got various kind of versions of this. Will you be doing more weekly vlogs now that you're settled in the new place? And this also kind of goes along with another question I got, which was, do I have goals for 2023? So definitely something I want to do is upload more on this channel. I'm not necessarily going to commit to doing a weekly vlog every single week, purely because sometimes my weeks are very repetitive, if I'm completely honest. I feel like it would just not be interesting to you guys necessarily having a weekly vlog every single week. That doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be a vlog every week though, if that makes any sense. So what I mean by that, some weeks it might be little snippets of everything that I've done throughout an entire week, and then another week it might be a vlog about a certain thing that I've done, like if I've gone off somewhere for the day or something like that. So if that makes sense to you guys, I will be uploading weekly, but it might not necessarily be a weekly vlog showing everything throughout that week, just because, as I say, some weeks are very repetitive. Sometimes I'm traveling, sometimes I'm just editing a lot of the time, and there's not much going on. But I'm definitely going to try and do more of my kind of day-to-day as well as the stuff I do over on Disney in Detail. Last year that very much went the other way, so almost everything I was uploading was Disney related, but I definitely want to change that, so there's a lot of stuff over on this channel as well. Let's do a couple of these Disney ones. Someone asked, will Disney ever bring back housekeeping? So disappointed with it last year. I don't know. I really hope that they do bring back the option. It used to be that mousekeeping came in every day and they like changed the towels and emptied the bins, made the bed, all the usual kind of stuff. Now I think they go in once every, I want to say once every 4 days, but they do come in between that, I think, just to make sure you've got towels. And just so you guys know, they do have to pop into the room every day to do like a check. I don't really know, I guess it's making sure that people aren't trashing the room or partying too hard. I don't know what they think people do at Disney, but it was a little bit weird when I was there last time. Like, it was a bit annoying if I was in the room during the day, or if you're trying to take a nap and then somebody's like knocking the door wanting to come in. I did find that a little bit irritating, if I'm totally honest. It would have been better if it was in the morning, because then usually you're out at the parks, and if you come back for a nap in the middle of the day or the afternoon, you don't really want someone like knocking the door saying, can I just put my head in for 2 seconds? I don't know, it's weird. I found it weird, so I would prefer it went back to the old way. And yeah, I don't know whether they will. I haven't heard anything on that. Next question, I'm thinking of getting hair extensions. Are they hard to take care of and maintain? So I've had them for quite a long time now. Some of you, if you've been around for a while, might know this, but other people might not. The reason that I originally got hair extensions is because I lost a lot of my hair when I was on steroid treatment for my TM. So I have a condition called transverse myelitis, which again, you may or may not know, depending how long you've been around. And I got that in 2017. It's a neurological disorder and it is a kind of permanent thing that I have to live with. I've got permanent damage from it. And at the time I was paralysed from the chest down. So I had to have steroid treatment, a very high dosage of steroid treatment. And as you then taper down from the steroids, it interferes with your hormones and with the growth cycle of your hair. And then a lot of my hair did fall out, and it was quite a lot. It didn't come out in patches, which I was very, very thankful for, but just a lot of it came out all over. It just went very, very thin, and I'd always had very long hair, and although my hair is quite fine, I have a lot of it, so it just felt to me like I had no hair. I felt very upset by it. It really did cause me quite a lot of distress, if I'm honest. I know that might sound a bit dramatic, but depending how important your hair is to you, it was to me. So that is the reason I originally had hair extensions done way back in 2018 it would have been, and I must admit I have got used to having them. So although my hair is definitely not as thin now, so it has started to grow back. It's never really grown back exactly the same. It's not grown back as thick as it used to be. I don't have as much hair, I guess, as I used to, but it's fine. Like you guys saw when I had it shorter, it's not that it looks bad or anything, but you do just get used to having more hair. So I tend to now go between little breaks having it shorter, and then I do have my extensions a lot of the time. In terms of like maintenance and stuff, it does depend, I find, on the quality of the hair extensions that you have. So I have tape hair extensions now. I find those are the best. I find they're the easiest to work with, the easiest to maintain, the easiest to kind of take in and out and stuff like that. But I would recommend paying a bit extra for the hair because it does make a huge difference. These that I have at the moment are really, really great. They're from Beauty Works. Ones that I've had in the past that weren't as good, they just, the only way I can describe it, they go really bushy underneath and they don't stay very straight. So it just looks like your hair is like very, very frizzy. I would get a lot of, you know, where you've had a jacket on and then it would get a bit sort of knotted at the back, because under here, it just constantly felt like it was really, really bushy and frizzy. Whereas these ones are nothing like that. They're amazing quality. They're really, really good. And they just look a bit more natural because they don't look as thick. So I think this looks more like the amount of hair that somebody would have, whereas the other ones that I had, because they went bushy and outwards, it looked like I had too much hair, if that makes any sense. So I would recommend getting some good ones. I use Beauty Works. They're not cheap, but it is worth it to me anyway. It really depends just whether it's worth it to you, because I have my own personal reasons why I have my hair extensions, but certainly they're not a necessity, of course, and if I couldn't afford them, I wouldn't have them. But yeah, these ones are very, very easy to take care of. The other day I did actually time how long it takes to dry my hair, because I do joke about how long it takes. It does take quite a long time. Washing it is exactly the same as washing my normal hair. It takes exactly the same amount of time. It's really not a big deal. Drying it from, you know, just washed it and just sort of towel dried it a little bit takes 35 minutes, which is a decent amount of time when you think about it. I think when I have short hair, it takes like 10 minutes to dry. It does take 35 minutes to completely dry, which is quite a lot, but I tend to do it at night time so that then I never have to spend 35 minutes doing that in the morning, because nobody wants to do that. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more because I'm aware of how long this is going to be otherwise. Someone's asked pros and cons of being self-employed. I'm self-employed and interested to hear others' views. I kind of touched on that before when I was talking about my previous jobs. I would say the main things that are negatives about being self-employed are having to do all of your own tax return and all that kind of stuff, and keeping track of expenses and things. I hate everything about doing self-assessment tax returns. That is my biggest thing that I don't like, and I've had to learn how to do and what I need to be doing. And also I would just say the kind of security of it. So when you're employed, you know what you're getting paid every month, or you certainly would know the minimum you're getting paid. Maybe you might have some kind of bonus or something, but you have like a regular amount of money coming in. When you're self-employed, obviously you do have to regulate that yourself. You have to think ahead. You have to make sure you have the work in place. In my case, it would be making sure that I have videos coming out, making sure if I'm working with brands that that's all in place. So it's just more to think about and more to worry about, I would say, in that sense. But then having said that, when I've been employed, there are other things to worry about that I now don't have. So I actually wouldn't say I worry more being self-employed than when I was employed. It's just in different ways probably, but I like it. I do enjoy the freedom of it, and yeah, it's definitely what I would rather do out of the two options. So just a couple more of these Disney questions. Would I recommend Pop Century Hotel? Yes, 100%. It is one of my favorite hotels at Disney. That includes all of the deluxes. I just love Pop Century. I love the Skyliner. The food court is great. The store there is really good that they have. You can walk across to Art of Animation. The rooms are nice. So yes, Pop Century, love it for sure. This is an interesting one. Disney Character Warehouse, the Vineland one or the International Drive one. So there are two outlet malls at either end of International Drive. One is called Vineland, one is I think just called Premium Outlets International Drive. And they both have a Disney Character Warehouse, which is the outlet store where they sell Disney merchandise at a reduced rate. And to be honest, at both of them, sometimes I've gone in and found loads of stuff and other times I've barely found anything. If you can and you really do want to look at the discounted merchandise, it's worth trying to get to both of them during a trip if you can. But if I had to pick one or the other, probably the Vineland one I think I would go for. Do you ever get travel sickness? If so, how do you deal with it? No, I'm very lucky. I actually don't get any travel sickness. I very rarely even get motion sickness on rides when I'm in the parks. The only ones that do cause me a little bit of motion sickness are Forbidden Journey at Universal, the Simpsons ride sometimes, and to a lesser extent the Mission Space ride, but only because I do the green one. If you do the orange one, that gives me terrible motion sickness. So those are the only rides I really get it. I've never experienced it on Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, which I know a lot of people do. I don't really get it too badly. Lisa does get very bad motion sickness, and she actually takes a travel sickness tablet in the morning before she goes to the parks, and she does find that that helps her motion sickness on rides. And as for travel sickness, she wears those like grey bands that you put around your wrist. I think they put pressure on the inside of your wrist or something. Anyway, she rates those and says that those are good as well. And the next one, do I like UK theme parks? That's an interesting one because I actually don't really go to UK theme parks hardly ever. I have been to Alton Towers before, many years ago. I haven't been recently. I think the reason I'm not as much of a fan of the UK ones as I am of Disney is purely the theming. The theming in the parks is the thing that I love the most. Just how beautiful everything is, how everything kind of fits into a story. And UK theme parks are not beautiful. They are just very theme parky. I don't know how to describe it. Anyone who's from the UK, I think you probably know what I mean. I actually have been meaning to do a few vlogs on this channel of actually going to UK theme parks to see what they are like, and maybe this summer that might be a good time for me to do that and put those vlogs on this channel. Let me know if that's something you would like to see, is going off and doing some of the UK theme parks, because it's just not something I do very often. I had a couple of questions about what foundation I use. I did mention that in the question about my top 5 products. It's the Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere foundation, not the Flawless Fusion, it's the Flawless Lumiere. Crucial detail there because they are quite different. At the moment, some of the shades are difficult to get hold of in the UK and elsewhere. The one I use is beige, and I've struggled to get it both here and in the States. I don't know if they're having some kind of supply issue, but anyway, I do have enough to last me, thank goodness, because I absolutely love it. And the last question I'll do for this one, just because this video will be so long otherwise, how did you know it was the right time to do YouTube full time? So it was a little bit of a different journey for me than it would be for most people, I think, doing YouTube full time. So I was in no way in a position to do YouTube full time when I did start doing it full time. And by that, I mean my channel wasn't big enough. I certainly wasn't making any kind of normal income from it. What actually happened, I did touch on it before. I obviously in 2017 got transverse myelitis. I was paralyzed overnight, and that is literally as it sounds. I was fine one day, completely healthy, and then the next day I had some pain, I had some numbness, got taken to hospital, and then a few hours later I was completely paralyzed. It really was as crazy as that. It's a very rare condition. I think it's 1 in a million in the UK, and I got it, so it just, I don't know, it's so random. I had actually left my job at the hospital not to do YouTube full time, but because we were moving from Surrey back to the West Country, so that's the reason I had left that job. Then literally a few months later, I got TM. And once that happened, I wasn't able to work. Of course, I was paralyzed, so I was recovering. Home working wasn't so much of a thing then because COVID hadn't happened. I think a lot of people now can work at home who couldn't before. So I just wasn't in the position to do a regular job. I already had my channel. I think I had maybe 2,000 subscribers or something, maybe a bit more than that at that point. But because I was recovering, I was able to throw all of my time into my channel. It saved my sanity, to be honest, because I don't know what I would have done with myself just sitting around being paralyzed and trying to learn to walk again. Like, it was a horrible time. Like I say, I had steroid treatment. There was all sorts of horrible side effects of that. It was a really, really difficult time for me, and my channel kind of kept me going. But as it was, because I was able to put all of that time into it, it then did start to grow quite quickly. So like 2018 and certainly 2019, it grew a lot. Then COVID happened, so that was a whole different weird time. And just gradually over time, I now do some work with brands and things like that, and I now am able to do it as a job. So that is kind of my journey with it. I think some people wonder like how I've been able to do it full time for all of these years. It really wasn't like that. So it was a very different situation to people who maybe have a channel, they work, and then they're making the decision when it's time to switch from one to the other. That was not how it happened for me anyway. I had a slightly strange journey with it, I would say. But there we go, that is what I'm doing now, and perhaps if I hadn't got TM, I maybe wouldn't be doing YouTube full time. Who knows? They say everything happens for a reason, so there you go. And I think I'm gonna leave it there for this Q&A. I did get some other questions. I'll maybe try and do another one. This always happens with Q&As. I get so many questions that the video would just be super, super long. So thank you to you guys for asking your questions over on Instagram. Don't forget to follow over there, because that's where I will always ask for questions if I'm doing videos like this. Like I said at the beginning of the video, don't forget to click the link in the description to get your 2 months for free with Readly. Like I said, you can cancel at any time, so you definitely might as well give it a go. It really is great. I absolutely love it. And just thank you guys for watching as always, and always being so supportive. I hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year. And in terms of videos coming up, I've got a homeware haul coming up. I'm going to be doing the house tour as well, so be sure to subscribe if you're not already to make sure that you don't miss any videos. You can click the bell icon as well, and that'll always notify you. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.